Ah, god damn it. I'll go answer. It's probably the King's Aide.
It's a young boy from the palace. Yes, he's clean cut, smartly dressed, and he's wearing like a tunic that identifies him as a palace runner. And he says, Mr. The Rod Stewart, sir.
Yeah. Let me guess. The carriage has arrived.
He says, no, one of your associates is very poorly off. Dying.
Oh, god damn it.
Please, hurry back to the palace.
Yeah, definitely.
Who's dying?
Vince,
Can I just go heal him?
let's go. He's got demon curse.
Just a wicked bad case of it.
All right, you all throw on your dress as best you can. Are you going to leave Amicus here? There's like that deck area, so you don't even have to lock him in a room. He can be outside.
Yeah, I'll leave him here.
And it's on the third floor, so he can't escape unless he decides to jump down 3 stories, which he won't. Perfect. You hustle your way, scraping the sleep crusties out of the corner of your eyes and just buttoning up the last couple buttons of your tunics as you arrive at the palace, where you can see there's several stricken and distressed-looking faces, especially as you approach the room where you remember Vince staying from the night before. You can see a very, very hungover and tired-looking Valhalla and Sublime kind of hanging out outside the door. They look really worried, and they are happy to see Arwen approaching. You can see what is obviously a doctor kind of stepping out and wiping his hands. He's got blood-stained hands. He's wiping them with a cloth. And there's an assistant right behind him that's got a large jar full of some very fat-looking leeches.
Can I heal him?
Her. Vince is a lady.
Oh, right. Can I heal Vince?
Well, when you open the door and look in, you see, it's Vince has always been, slight and frail of form, but you now see that Vince's clothes have been cut off of her for the most part, and the almost skeletal, supine creature you see writhing in sweat-stained sheets here, being attended to by several nurses who are doing their best to kind of keep Vince cool and let modesty prevail, although the thrashing form keeps pulling the sheets down, and you just see, like, you can count her ribs, and you see the joints and the muscles and veins straining underneath the taut skin, as Vince is not well. Also, you can smell the strong smell of blood and feces and vomit in the air. As you kind of enter the room, Vince arches her back and lolls her head around on the sheets and cackles halfway between a scream and a moan, and you swear you hear Kshatri's voice in there too.
Is my brother, whoever looks to be the most in charge person, I'll say, who is the most powerful cleric in Lufa?
The doctor standing there at the thing, he says, you have to get down to the Church of Halen and find Brother Darian there.
Okay, let's go.
The boy who was the runner who accompanied you guys back looks up at you expectantly.
What? No, we're, yeah. Do you think you could convince him to come?
Yes, sir. Of course, sir, for the Rod Stewarts. For Valhalla Kazam's friends. He's already running down the hallway.
Would Healer's Gift help him? It's for a dying creature.
Yes, Arwen, you go in and you do your lay on hands, and that calms Vince down as she lies down and her breath, slows back to normal. But now you get a good look at her face. It's pale with red rimmed eyes, and as she's breathing, her mouth opens and her breath is awful. And you can see that her gums are receding and her teeth are stained, and she's got some serious gingivitis going on in there. It's almost you've been watching the slow deterioration in Vince's health, but overnight she's gone, very sickly.
Geez, guys, why didn't you tell me it was that bad?
We didn't know.
No one's seen Vince without any clothes on for a long time here, and now she can, you grab her wrist to take her pulse, and she feels so light, and you look down, and in her thrashings about, she's actually popped 3 of her fingernails off on this hand.
Yep.
What happened? How did she get cursed?
Demon cocaine.
Also, clumps of her hair have come out. You notice that clinging to the pillow and the sweat-stained sheets, which the nurses, now that she's calmed down, the nurses and the palace staff say, can you help us, move her so we can change the linens?
Is this withdrawal?
You don't.
Yes.
You're not sure. Make a heal check for me, please.
It's definitely either withdrawal or just the fact that she consumed nearly all of Kashadri.
Yes, you've seen the madness before, which is the withdrawal symptoms of, especially more frequently from alcohol. But you're like, yeah, this looks like some type of severe withdrawal, or and then the religious aspect of your training as well is like, this looks like possession, which happens as well. So you're dealing with a withdrawal from a serious drug and a side order of possession from a demon, a powerful demon.
Wow, well, what can we do about that?
Hopefully the cleric can... it's going to be an expensive and probably a side adventure to find the exorcism stuff. / getting Vinz, off the schneef.
It's true. Not long later, the boy returns out of breath with a priest and 2 acolytes. The acolytes are carrying between them several large valises, which they put down. The priest does a complicated holy symbol of Halen with his hand before he enters the room and shakes his head. He's like, ooh, things look grave. The first question he, very somberly and seriously asks is this creature worth saving?
Yes.
He says, very good. I will take you at your word, sir. And he immediately goes and begins checking, vital signs, and he's got some healing ointments that you recognize as like heal potions that he starts putting like on the fingernails and rubbing on Vince's gums, which then start to plump up and look a little more healthy and things like that. But Vince is still, not comatose, but catatonic, and just kind of flits in and out of states of consciousness. And is just generally as useless as Herpes once accused her of being.
I'm gonna kneel down to this palace runner. How would you like a job on the Valhalla Kazam staff?
Yes, very much, sir. Yes, please.
All right, we're gonna put you on retainer. I'm gonna hand him a silver and say, keep an eye out for a carriage coming from the place that where was it coming from? That
Purell.
Keep an eye out for a carriage coming from Purell. You come find me if it shows up.
Of course, sir. Absolutely.
You're a good kid.
Murgatroyd, as you're standing there looking at the form of Vince here, you're struck by the complicated emotions arising, and you step forward to the foot of the bed, and you feel your boot step on something a little bit round, and you just toy with the toe a little bit, and you realize it's the handle of the broom / trident that he's in his last moments of consciousness, Vince kind of secured under the bed. But as these nurses are cleaning up, they're changing the bed sheets, they're kind of looking around. It might get noticed.
I kind of pull it out of sight. Is there any like storage or anything in the room?
Yeah, there's a closet.
Yeah, just fire it in there.
All right.
And if he's really looks like he's struggling, I'll pour him a little bit the dwarf booze when the nurses aren't looking.
Excellent. You take a circuitous moment where the priest turns his back to fetch some holy symbols, which he's hanging around the bed to try and help with the possession, and the nurses are taking the disgusting sheets away after they dress Vince in a fresh, clean dressing gown to pour a small tumbler of the thick dwarven ale, and you sense a calm in Vince, and her wild eyes kind of focus on you for a second, and you have an exchange, a moment there where you see through the madness and through the withdrawal and everything that there still is Vince in there, and the real Vince, before the sex change or anything, is looking at you, and you're looking at him, and you guys have a little Riggs and Murtaugh moment.
We can use genderless pronouns for Vince. I mean, I think that would be appropriate at this point.
Yeah, I suppose. So the first thing that happens is the doctor and nurses don't want to let Jack into the room for hygiene reasons. Right, you can see right away they understand. Oh, we understand you're an adventurer, but please, for the good of the patient, we can't possibly have you bringing some, Lyme disease or something in here, ticks or whatever weevils happen to be, or strange bovine germs.
If I have those, he already has those, because he's been traveling with me.
She, you mean?
They,
she, he, whatever.
Shmee. Yes, but a few, persuasions from the rest of the Rod Stewarts, they admit Jack into the room, and the priest, at first, when he shows up and starts doing his thing, his first move is to be gone the Minotaur, but then he sees your holy symbols, and you have a moment there with the priest too, and he kind of gives you a grim nod, and he says, there is great evil inside here. We'll need all the help we can get.
Heal check.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Jack.
He's making his heal check. Excellent.
Oh.
Yes. So with a 28, you're like, Jack. Vince is definitely going through some serious withdrawal. You look at the bandages that the doctors have put on for various wounds. Heal check. And you're like, this doctor is quite competent and did a very good job. You can see where they use the leeches to let some blood, try and get the toxic out of them. And you're like, yeah, they are, they're quite competent. But the best thing for Vince right now is going to be like hydration, fluids, healthy food, and no more cocaine.
Fruit juices.
Yeah, keep his
Potato juice.
Sugar and salts up, right? That's the best you can do with your heal check. You want to make a religion check?
Yeah, I might as well.
I want to make a religion check.
Do so, please.
You can both make religion checks.
Jack, you're like, yeah, that's some bad voodoo right there. And Arwen, you're like, yeah, this is going to be, you've even, as a paladin, you've been trained in exorcisms, and maybe even aided in a couple minor ones. But this demon is very powerful and has a hold like, you've never seen before. Because most demons, they can worm their way in, or they sneak, or they take control. But this demon was actively allowed inside the body over months. This demon has had time to make himself at home inside Vince's body. And
are the priests that are there, are they able to do an exorcism?
He is setting up for one right now, but he keeps shaking his head and opening up books and checking them and tossing them aside, and he sends one of his acolytes back to the church. He's like, go fetch me the tome of greater demonic removal. He says, you'll have to see brother something about it. It's in a part of the library not often accessed. He says, and you, the other, he sends one of the runner boys off. He's like, go and fetch me the priests from this church and that church. We need all hands on deck here. This is the most invasive demonic possession I have ever been a party to.
Yeah, I'm gonna offer to help them since I've done this a couple of times before, or at least assisted.
All right.
Quick question.
Yes?
Is there anything like a slow drain of a demon, kind of like how the demon slowly entered him, but in reverse?
Yes, there is, and that is the safest way to do it, and that is probably what this priest is setting up for. It's like a spiritual version of the leeches. So instead of sucking out the poisonous blood and letting the body produce more healthy blood, this sucks out the poisonous soul and lets the body reproduce healthy soul.
Soul transfusion.
But it takes time, and it is, it's not easy. It takes great strength of faith from those initiating the procedure. So when you offer to help, the priest kind of looks you up and down, Arwen, as like, oh, a woman warrior wishes to help us. He says, and an elf. He says, I'm sorry, what god are you affiliated with?
I'm affiliated with Athena.
Athena.
She's a goddess of wisdom.
He kind of makes a bit of a confused face. He says, I'm not familiar with this god. He says, I know some of the elven gods here from the Silewood, but this Athena, she's anyway, I'm sure you can be useful. Here, he says, hold this cold towel on her forehead.
I'm not a nurse. I'm a paladin.
He looks.
Jack is more nurse than her.
Jack takes the cold towel and holds it on Vince's forehead. I like that. He kind of does a little bit of a double start. He says, a paladin. He looks you up and down again. I guess, are you wearing all of your armor?
Yes.
All right. He says, well, I guess that explains the armor, but you have no holy sword. He says, and you're an elf, and there are elven paladins. I was not sure that elven gods blessed their followers in that way.
I'm gonna cut him off and say, well, how many exorcisms have you successfully done?
He says, I have done several in my tenure, my dear.
All right, well, if you don't want help, I'll find something else to do.
He says, no, we use all the help we can get. I'm sure that Diana, was it? He says, she will make her presence known. Anyway, so the priests begin the procedure, and once other priests arrive and are kind of keyed into the seriousness of the situation, they realize that there is going to have to be a vigil here on the bed where there's texts and incense and holy symbols to be used. If Jack and Arwen produce holy symbols for the Raven Queen and Diana, they can be also added to the mixture. And right away, as soon as the procedure starts for the exorcism, you feel the fighting going on, and the air in the room takes on an edge that you can remember from that battle with Kshatriy. And on the very edge of your hearing, you can hear his voice again, mocking and taunting you all.
Can I do a religion check again to help, but hopefully get a bonus from remembering Kshatriy?
No, we can use that same religion check. It was a good roll. Oh no!
It wasn't.
You rolled a 10 on your religion. The heal was the good one for you. I guess what additional information are you looking for here with by tying the possession to Kshatriy?
How he works psychologically, like how he would have wormed his way inside in the first place, and just basically how he gets into people's heads.
He's cocaine, baby, right? He's a good time, and the more kind of.
But it's not just cocaine; it's also his, charm.
Yeah, and then the addiction, and the fact that if you stop hanging out with Kshatriy, you start to feel lousy, and then just to be around him again makes you feel great, and it's just he is wonderful, and there is part of Vince that just loves having Kshatriy around, and it's going to be very hard to separate the two of them. And you have a very strong feeling that for the rest of Vince's life, Kshatriy is still going to be a part of him.
I gotta somehow make it seem like Kshatriy is one of those like abusive relationship kind of deals where it seems great, but you're just getting yourself hurt.
Yeah, you're pretty sure Kshatriy lives where all demons live, which is in the Abyss. So you'd have to go to Hell. And to get to Hell, you usually have to go through the Shadow Realm. So you'll have to find a gate to go to the Shadow Realm, and then in the Shadow Realm, find a gate to get to the Abyss. There are, in theory, ways to go directly from the Material Realm to the Abyss, but you've never come across one.
Can we summon him to us?
It's quite possible. There are ways to summon demons. You're not sure how to summon Kshatriy, but you figure it out. It, usually has something to do with appealing to them. So you would have to...
A massive pile of cocaine.
A massive pile of cocaine, and then just a whole bunch of vice. So if you got a big crowd of people all completely ripped on cocaine, just dancing and eating and debauching...
So a Valhalla Kazam show.
Of some, Valhalla, a particularly wild Valhalla Kazam show might be a good signal to summon Kshatriy.
All right, well, let's give this exorcism a go first.
All right, it's going, and it just means that someone trained in religion has to stay at Vince's bedside. And every day, Vince is going to make a endurance check or a will check, or probably both, to come out of this. How about Sublime?
He's not Sublime trained in religion.
I don't remember.
Or
I don't think he is.
Or Hatim.
Hatim definitely is, yeah.
Because we still have this meeting thing we still have to do, right? Or did I completely miss that?
We don't have to all go at the same time, though, so we could go in shifts or something if somebody needs to be here.
Yeah, what I was thinking was when we go to do the thing with the gold and the ghost ship and whatnot, Hitim can be here doing his religion thing. And then whenever we get back, we take shifts.
Okay. So we're going to go track down our people and try to get them to be witnesses then?
Anybody? I think it's just you and me, Crystal.
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
What's that, sorry?
No, we can't hear you, Jake.
Oh man, I had so many good zingers all throughout that. Oh well. Anyways, yeah, I'd say let's try and get our witnesses, but we just lost the priest of Halen. So, yeah, Arwen, go for the paladin and the judge, and
Jack still has that other priest to go visit.
Yeah, the priest of Brasai.
Nope.
And hey, it's the water.
He's here too.
Right, all the priests are here.
Yeah, there's about a dozen high-level priests here. But he's right here. I mean, you can talk to him.
Okay, and they're not so it's not like full attention all the time. It's more like an actual surgery where you can kind of talk to somebody while they're working.
Yeah, only one person has to be fully attentive at all times, reading, and then the
Gotcha.
other, mostly the accolades. So once all the head priests kind of came and helped get everything set up, most of them kind of drifted off and went back and said, when you need me to sub out, come and send a runner, and we'll, we got to get rid of this demon, because if there's one thing all priests are definitely keen on, it's getting rid of demons.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right, so
except
we'll
for evil
split up
priests.
and meet back here in a few hours?
Perfect.
Since the people that Jack was going to talk to are, already
stay
here. Yeah, Jack's going to stay here and help out.
And
If
you're trained in religion too, so that works out well.
If Murgatroyd can tear himself away, I'd say that Murgatroyd should talk to the captain. I figure someone who sails in like a warship is going to have some respect for dwarves, and vice versa.
Dwarves aren't exactly known for the sea, though.
Yeah, they're not super seafaring.
No, but you don't have to go on a boat. You just have to. No, am I crazy?
They'll hang out by the boat.
You're just going to meet with this guy, right? He's going to be in town. He's not going to be on his boat. It just, to me, the captain of like a warship sounds like someone that would get along with Murgatroyd.
He's while
Just
he's in
because
town,
they
they
both
have
punch things.
secured a suite for him to stay at, a small cottage. Right, the rest of the sailors have to stay on board the ship all the time, but the captain and maybe some other of the superior officers are put up in nice little cottages in the town. Care of the Anurian taxpayer.
Oh,
Okay, who wants to go first? Since you're splitting the party up.
I'll go first.
All right.
And go for the. I guess I'll go for the. I don't know. I don't know who's going to be like physically capable for this. My money's on the well-to-do widow. She's probably living the life of luxury, doing yoga and stuff. She'd be able to go on a stakeout.
She's got to stay in fit for them young callers.
Let's try her. We'll see it. We'll see how it goes.
Okay, just a sec. I'm just
Get ready for
checking out here who is going to be physically fit and who isn't, and you guys are pretty lucky.
We're making Johnny improv. I love it.
Perfect. All right. So as you exit the castle, or exit the wing that you're staying in, and go through the courtyard, you see that the stage is undergoing the final stages of its construction, and you remember that also tonight is supposed to be the big concert that Valhalla Kazam is putting on.
When it rains, it pours.
One of the organizers kind of sees you walking by, and it's like, Mr. Whatever
Leo,
pseudonym
yes,
you gave here.
Manager, go.
What was your last name, though? He would address you by your last name.
Stotch.
Leo Stotch. Mr. Stotch, yes, we have a few questions here about, some of the arrangements and some of the merchandising, and he just begins asking you things about where you want the banners to be hung and what they should look like. Is there a particular type of lighting display? Do you have a stage manager type questions? Do you have a set list? Do you have, where's the rider? Where do you want the merch booth set up? And do you have someone to operate it?
How has this information not been sorted out by... And I'll give him a fake name. How has this information not been sorted out by Johnny? I'll have his head. Look. Yeah, and I'll spend like 30 minutes giving a super hurried, like, merch booth there. I'll leave the lighting up to the whims of the lighting designer. Banners should be, as I told you, across the top and bottom of the stage. Just going over things like a terrible client.
Sure.
Last minute.
Yeah, you can see the stage manager frantically making notes and, passing them to different technicians as they go past, trying to get everything together.
The look on the lighting designer's face when I say, just go with how you feel the lighting should go.
Right.
Okay. You got it, Hoss. Turn everything on and leave it on.
Exactly. Anyway, so yeah, you're a little bit delayed by that, and you're like, come on, damn it, why is everything happening at the same time? But eventually you're able to break free, and you follow your brother's directions to the widow's house. Her name is the widow Nash, Gracie Nash. Excellent. You're standing outside of you, and when you get there, you're like, damn, this is a nice place. It's way nicer than Dante's uncle's. Not as nice as the palace,
Okay.
but whoever this widow was, or whoever her husband was, left her with a lot of money.
Okay, I remember how to do this. All right. here we go. I'll do the clothes clean and give my hair a quick hand comb and knock on the door.
Excellent. The door is opened by a butler who's like, yes, sir? How may I help you? Do you have an appointment?
No, but this is a matter of the utmost urgency.
I see. I assume you're here to see Miss Nash.
Yeah, I'll reach out my hand to shake it, and in it I'll palm a silver.
Oh, he kind of looks distasteful at his silver.
Okay, I'll do it. Okay, well, I would hope that I could read the situation. Nah, whatever. Silver's great. If he like turns up his nose at that, I'll like cough into my hand and slap him on the shoulder with like a gold piece in my hand and say, "Yes, come on, time is of the essence."
He says, "That won't be necessary, sir." And he hands you, like touching as little of the coins as he possibly can, puts them back into your hand, and then wipes his hand on his trousers. And he
is there a koi pond around?
Yeah.
I'll flick both the coins into the koi pond.
Bloop. Okay, he says, he leads you in a shuffled gait to a sitting room, and you're just like, whoa, Jesus, the furniture in here is antique. The paintings on the walls are, you're like, oh shit, you recognize that particular work of art that you used to study in a museum somewhere. You're like, oh, this is by a similar painter. This lady is very, very rich.
Didn't I steal one of his works once?
Something like that, yes. After a short period of time, a very healthy, cheeked and full head of hair, although it's turned silver, older woman steps in, and she's wearing riding pants and a riding jacket and shirt. She has a helmet and crop kind of under one arm, and she steps into the room, her riding boots leaving muddy tracks on the carpet, but she doesn't seem to care. It's just like, whatever, this is a carpet that costs more money than the Rod Stewart's made in the last year, but she just left muddy footprints on it as she comes and kind of sits down in one of the chairs next to you and waves to a servant who you didn't even notice was there. You're like, damn, my stealth abilities are great, but this servant was just kind of chilling in the corner of the room, and then steps forward and with a little tea trolley and starts serving tea. And she looks at you kind of before she even says anything. You can see she's giving you the up and down, giving you the eyeball. Please make a bluff check. All right. So she kind of, and she nods to herself as though she's made some sort of assumption about you. And she says, "I'm very flattered, young man, but I am not interested. Although you are quite handsome and you look like you could hold your own, I am not looking for a new husband at this time."
Nor was I offering.
She smiles. She says, "Of course not."
No, look, I'm not from around here. I've come to Lufa as part of, I'm an adventurer, and I want to gauge her reaction to that.
Okay, she just kind of smiles, and she says, "I've known adventurers."
Right. Okay, so
she says,
good.
You
Poker
look
face.
a little thin to be an adventurer.
Good. I
and
take
in
care
that
of myself.
one sentence, all that it implies that she knows you're not a fighter. You can tell she says you're not a holy man. You don't look like a wizard. So there's one class left.
Yeah. Okay. I say, look, I'm right. I've come into town on an investigation. I suppose I should introduce myself. My name is Leo Stotch, and I'll extend my hand.
She reaches forward and grips it in a firm, strong grip. That's and everything that entails. She makes good, unblinking eye contact with you the whole time.
Good. So, this is my not my first time in Lufa, but it's been many years. It's
Oh, we're losing you again.
Oh, this is my first time to Lufa in quite a few years. It's changed quite a bit.
She says, yes, the only thing you can be certain of is that things change.
Okay. So I have, my work here has led me to uncover a plot to assassinate the king.
At that, she looks interested. She waves her hand to dismiss her servant and reaches over to pour herself a cup of tea. Then she looks to you and pours a cup of tea as well. She says, what do you take? Then she says, just a second. Allow me to guess.
Go.
She's going to make an insight check. She got 32 on her insight.
Wow.
So she knows exactly what you take. Or what the persona you're adapting. If you've been Leo Stotch before, and so when you're Leo Stotch, you're like, okay, this is the skin I wear. So however Leo Stotch has taken his tea before, that's what she reads.
Perfect. I was told that you would be the person to speak to, and I'm glad that your reputation is well met. The king is going to be assassinated, but I believe that I have uncovered the plot and the major players. I've spoken, I believe that your reputation, your name, your status would lend you to be an excellent witness. Would you be interested in going on a stakeout with me to observe the money change hands to order this hit taking place?
She stirs her tea slowly and then scrapes the spoon across the edge of the teacup to get the last drip, and then lays the spoon face down on the edge of her saucer and slowly lifts it up, lifts the tea from the saucer and takes a small sip, enjoying it. And she puts it back down and looks at you squarely in the face again. She says, the king has many employees. Why has he brought in an outside adventurer to deal with this?
He's not sure who you can trust.
She smiles. She says, and he can trust you.
I'm in it for the money.
Very good. And the king has paid you enough then. His rivals, who will go unnamed, couldn't possibly pay you some more to change sides if you are in it for the money.
They could, I suppose, but I also have a predisposition to do what's right.
She smiles at that. She says, good, I like that. She says, of course, I would be very interested in going on a stakeout with you, young man. However, it would be purely professional. As I said before, I am not interested in another husband at this time. Or
Me
even
neither.
Taking suitors.
Yeah, me neither. And I'll, quietly, expletive. Damn.
Excellent. She reaches over to another plate and offers you some ginger cookies.
Yeah, I'll take one.
Excellent. She puts it down and has one herself.
So, essentially, what's going to happen is we hope to... the whole event hinges on a shipment of money coming in. If it arrives, where can I find you, and can you join me with the utmost haste in order to catch the act?
She says, yes, you can find me here. I seldom stray very far from the house. There's no need, really. Check.
Perfect.
There's no
Okay.
need, really.
Well, it was
quiet,
the
and this is
utmost
loud.
pleasure meeting you.
She says, I'm sure it was.
You have a lovely house.
Yes. It's taken a lot of work and many years to get it this way. I'm sure you can see yourself out. She steps up and looking down, notices an errant bit of mud on the carpet, which she just kind of studies for a second, then shrugs and turns and she says, if you'll excuse me, I need to get back to what I was doing.
Yep, out.
Excellent. She exits through one door and just kind of leaves you standing there in the middle of this sitting room. Just like now, a cursory glance around, you see a jeweled snuff box there that could be worth a pretty penny, golden candlesticks, an impressive collection of books, knickknacks. Just looking around this room, you're like, you could pocket any number of items that would be worth a pretty penny.
Yeah, I know. This is killing me, and I can't believe that it's already gone as well as it has. I don't want to press my luck. I'm going for the playing the long game here, even though it's immensely difficult.
Okay, yes, you bite the inside of your cheek and make for the door after replacing your teacup and saucer on the tea trolley. Excellent. You exit this house.
Oh, man, I can't believe that went as well as it did.
All right. Jack. Or Crystal. Who wants to go next?
Jack is healing.
I can go.
Religiousing.
Oh, okay, perfect. So Jack is taking a turn exercising, and you can feel the push. I guess make a religion check for me there, Jack, as you are kind of ham, or in your case, beef fisting your way through the articulations of this exorcism that's written in Anurian. Oh, you do all right. You quickly gaffle on to the general feel of the thing, and are able to substitute a lot of your own language. You get the feel of how we're pushing the evil and in which direction. However, when you get into it and finally make that connection, you feel Kshatri latch right onto you, and you can hear him say, "Ooh, baby, it's you again. Kshatri's happy to see you."
I never had any of your cocaine.
No, but Kshatri
Because I don't
remembers
like
you.
cocaine.
We all did, though. When he exploded at the end, we all got a blast of it.
That's true.
Actually, I thought I was outside the blast range. It was everyone that was beside him.
It's possible. Anyway, you were there. You fought him, and Kshatri remembers you. And Kshatri says, we might not have parted on the best terms, but we can just get along. Hey, your friend Vinz here, she really, she loves Kshatri, and we could all be friends.
I did need friend back. And you are not good friend.
Oh, Kshatri's the best friend anyone could ever ask for. Kshatri knows how to have a good time.
You know how to have hurt time.
Oh, come on, baby.
No.
All right. The Kshatri just, then dissolves into yelling curses and insults at you while you go through the incantations and, press the holy unctions to the various chakras and nexus points on Vince's poor, quivering, sweating body, while the nurses administer fluids and whatnot. All right, Arwen, who are you going to go talk to?
The Paladin.
Beauty. You head down. The Church of Halin is easy to find. It is the largest church in the whole city, and you're like, well, it really stands out. It's classic, Halin church, right? It's big, tall spires. Halin's symbol is a sword through the sun, right? So they are all about catching as much light as they can. Big stained glass windows. It's pretty stereotypical church. Pardon me. Stereotypical church.
I'm gonna go in.
Excellent. When you go in right away, you feel the presence of Halin. Right, this is a well-used religious spot, and you still feel Diana's hands on your shoulders, but she's like gripping tight to hold on to, keep her connection with you in this place. It doesn't take you too long asking around various accolades and monks and things in the church. They direct you out back, and as you go through a small door in the back of one of the rooms there, a wooden door. You get the smell of horses reaches your nostrils, and you start to hear the sounds of training, the sounds of a metal sword slapping against a wooden dummy, and grunting and thwacking and stuff. Would you like to continue on investigate?
Oh, yes. Sorry.
All right. You follow the sounds and the smell of horses. You step out into a stable area. And the first thing that you kind of pass by is a magnificent horse being tended to by a young boy who's cleaning out the shoes and brushing down the mane and just taking very good care of this magnificent specimen of a horse. And once you look up past this beautiful horse, you see the most beautiful human you've ever seen before. He's standing, he's got his shirt off, and it's just all muscles and magnificence and a shock of beautiful flowing long blonde hair which matches the beautiful flowing long fair mane of the horse. He's got strong features, and he's covered with a coating of sweat, this being the 7th month in the center. So it's like it's a hot July day, and working away at this training dummy with the shield, and you're like, oh shit, as you watch this man train. His form is excellent, his shield work is on point, and his sword strikes are powerful and deadly.
I'm gonna assume that's the guy I'm looking for. I'm gonna approach.
Excellent. As you begin to approach, he notices you right away and stops and, lowers the sword. And it's like, He goes over to a water butt and picks out a bucket of water, dumps it over his head, slushing himself down, and then dunks it again and brings it back up to drink deep from the water. He kind of wipes his mouth off on his hands, and one of his little squires tosses him a towel as he towels off his face, and he looks at you and flashes a 100-watt smile, his perfect capped teeth, and he's like, hello there. And he kind of looks you up and down. He says, a paladin. He says, I'm afraid I don't recognize your god, though, but I recognize the bearing.
I'm gonna ask if I can have a moment of his time.
He says, of course, of course. He snaps his finger, and the squire brings over some folding chairs, drops them down. Another one plops down a table, and another one plops down some bread and cheese and, a bottle of wine or something like that. And he says, please join me for a snack. I've worked up a heck of an appetite.
Okay, I do.
Excellent. You sit opposite him, and he pushes the bread over to you and cuts a piece of cheese and slides it, and he pours some wine into a nice, looking wooden goblet for you to drink from. And after you've torn your own bread, then he takes and tears his own off and, stuffs a overlarge piece in his mouth and goes, yeah, well, what brings you to Lufa?
Oh, you must have heard about what's happening with the boats and stuff. Ships getting ransacked and things like that by these villainous people who are visiting the town.
He swallows, and you see his overlarge Adam's apple bobbing up and down in his throat as he forces down some of the bread and gulps back a little bit of wine. He says, yes, he says, the pirates, he spits almost like a detested word, and he said, he says, would they come on to land where I could face them like men? But no, they cower out there on the water like skulking thieves.
Well, it's come to the attention of my group that they actually are going to attempt to assassinate the king, and we'd like to stop them.
He says, by Halen, that cannot be allowed to transpass.
Well, we have some information on who paid them and who wants them to kill the king, but we need some actual evidence. So we're looking for witnesses that can help us prove who actually paid for this assassination. Would you be interested in helping us?
He says, you know who the wrongdoers are. Let us simply go and arrest them. We have Halen's hand to guide us.
Well, we suspect we don't have any evidence against them, which is what we're looking for now.
He says, well, what does your god say?
Says that they're guilty, but that doesn't really hold up much in court.
He says, the the word of God is higher than the words of man. He says, if they are guilty, then they're guilty. Let us go and apprehend these nefarious wrongdoers and bring them before God. They will be tried in the ways of the church. He gets up and he, towels himself off a little bit more, and he says, snaps his fingers, and he says, Squires, bring me my armor. We will accompany this fair maiden here and apprehend these people post-haste.
You're getting a little ahead of yourself, but I like your enthusiasm. We actually want to catch them in the act. We want to make sure that we have evidence, so we're hoping that you would be available maybe to do a small stakeout with me at some point in the near future.
He says, catch them in the act of killing the king? We must apprehend them before they kill the king. Of course,
we want to catch them in the act of paying for the assassination, not actually doing the assassination.
He says, what? Yeah, they're paying for the... Hang on, he scratches his head and he says, so they are going to kill the king, but they are getting money to... And we are... He says, I don't understand. Can't we just go and arrest them? He kind of slumps his shoulders. He's like, oh...
I wish we could just go and arrest them, but if we do that without any evidence, they're just going to get away with it, so...
What more evidence do you need than your moral compass? He says, this is all too unfamiliar to me. If I know someone is guilty, I simply go and arrest them, and God will sort it out in the end.
Well, that's not how the rest of the town thinks, so we want to keep in everybody's good graces.
Good graces? God lends us the best grace of all.
You paladins are crazy.
He says, yes, he says, I do not know how the elves handle their business, but here, a paladin of Haylin is a very strong and influential word. Point me to all these wrongdoers, and I will see, I will commune with my God and infer their guilt from his blessings. Who is this person that you suspect?
Well, I'm not really ready to tell you who that is. You seem a little bit eager to go after them.
Says, yes. Now you are withholding information from me. Come, I'm a paladin. I'm trustworthy. I'm a man of God.
Yeah, but where I'm from, even paladins still need proof that somebody's bad. They can't just have a gut feeling, so...
It's more than a gut feeling. It's the word of God. Come now, your God must speak to you.
She does, yes.
Very well. If your God said to you that this person is evil, then you would smite them mightily. And he waves his sword through the air, which makes a terrific whooshing sound.
Okay, how about we put a pin in this, and I'll come back and talk to you in a little bit.
Put pins in the... Oh, I see. Your God is one of those gods. In the Church of Haylin, we do not necessarily stick pins in people. We assume their guilt from other means.
Let me just discuss it with the rest of my party, and I will come back and speak to you again.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I will be here, honing my craft.
Fantastic. It was very nice to meet you.
And you as well. You are welcome in the House of Haylin anytime. You and your other elves.
And I'm gonna leave.
Very well. Farewell, maiden of a different and distant god. I bid you success on all of your quests.
And to you as well. As I walk away.
He goes back to attacking the training dummy.
That was a train wreck.
Oh, that was awesome. I loved every second of that.
All right, one mission fail.
No, you did. Honestly, you did great.
Is there anyone else you'd like to go and see, Arwen?
Yeah, I'll go visit the judge.
The judge. Excellent. All right. You head down to the courthouse where his house just abuts the back of it. And it is also a nice house, although much plainer than the church or some of the other fancy villas that are around here. This this house was obviously built by the state and lacks a lot of the ornamentation of houses that were privately constructed. The judge is, of course, in sessions, but you're given a time to wait, and because you are a paladin, they make you an appointment. You do have to wait for several hours, though, in the small waiting room. But eventually, the judge comes bustling out of the courtroom area and kind of past you on the bench. He looks at you as he's stripping off his cloak and handing it to an assistant there who takes it from him. And the judge says, "Are you waiting for me?"
Yes, sir, I am. Thank you for seeing me.
He says, "I have a very short recess here, but as long as you're brief, let's go."
Okay. I won't waste your time. I explained to him about the bad guys and the boats and the blah, 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 blah.
He says, "You'll excuse me if I dine."
Oh, yes, of course.
All right. He starts noisily slurping some soup while you're talking. He's like nodding. Very good, very good.
Okay. Tell him about the possible assassination of the king and that we think we might know who's involved in it, but we need some help proving it, and ask if he's willing to help.
He doesn't stop eating his soup the whole time, although he does, when you say assassination of the king, he pauses for a second, but then keeps slurping, as though this is, crime and corruption is not news to this guy. You can see that he has a little plate on the front of his desk, and his name is Ollis Murphy. Excuse me, Judge Ollis Murphy.
Okay, and I tell him that we're setting up a way to catch the people and that we would like him to come witness the event so that we have proof about who is trying to assassinate the king.
He says, "I understand why you have come to me." He says, "I do have a reputation as being unbiased and unbribable." He says, "However," he says, "I am far too busy to be traipsing around and performing stakeouts with people on various notions and or hunches. If you can bring me concrete proof that there is in fact an assassination plot, then I might be able to secure for you someone who can go along with you. Up until that point, though, and however, I'm afraid you are on your own. If you do find appropriate evidence, I will prosecute, though, and I have a very good district attorney here who will see to it that these plotters and attempted assassinaires will be tried to the full extent of the law."
Okay, would you have someone available for a stakeout to get this evidence?
He says, "Yes, I can provide you with a clerk, but once again, there's no particular guarantee that they are incorruptible. As you see, it's only those of extremely high moral fiber, such as yourself, being a paladin, and myself, being a judge, remember, that it is possible that they can be got to. However, I can provide you with a clerk, and you'll just have to take your chances. If, however, you catch this clerk being in the take, or being bribed, or committing nefarious acts, and you have evidence, then we can prosecute the clerk as well." He slams down his spoon on the side of the thing. Hey, you see that this guy definitely has a hard-on for prosecuting people.
That sounds fantastic. I will keep a very close eye on this clerk and make sure they stay on the up and up.
He says, "Fantastic." He says, "Dugans!" He shouts it. One of the other doors opens, and a fellow steps in who's got, notepad and everything. He says, yes, Your Honor. He says, "Bring us a clerk, someone fresh, someone new to Luva if possible, someone who hasn't been got to yet. Put her in touch with this lovely young lady here, and see to it that they are put on retainer." "Fantastic. My recess is over. It is well met, my dear." He slurps back a tumbler full of some type of alcohol and bracing, and then he gets his cloak back from the other assistant. He says, "This has been wonderful having lunch with you. Please come back anytime. I can't guarantee that I'll be free to see you, but if you don't mind waiting around, I will be here." All right.
Thank you. I appreciate your time. You're very busy. Thank you.
Yes.
That was amazing. That's my new favorite character, John.
Okay, excellent. So not long afterwards, a very shy and, yes, I'm going to say young girl who has spectacles and proper pinned down hair and everything like this. You can see her clothes are nice but poor, as though she is doing her best. But she's not from a wealthy family. She kind of comes in and looks up at you and takes in your armor and your bearing and your stature, and right away you can see a little smile comes across her face, and she says, "Yes, my name is Pakitis. My name is Krell Pakitis, and I will be your clerk. I understand that you have a particular case you're working on, and I can handle filing and scribing and taking dictation. I can write in 3 languages and speak 5.
Wow, that's fantastic, as long as you're also able to observe and record events, you'll work out great.
She kind of looks shyly down and looks up again, adjusts her spectacles, and says, I'll do my best, miss.
All right, perfect. Follow me. We'll head back to the rest of my party.
Excellent. She follows on your heels. Elliot, would you like to see anyone else on this list?
No, I think we're good.
Okay, beauty. You all make your way back to the castle or the villa. Which one?
Back to
Definitely
wherever Vinz is, right?
Yeah, the castle.
Vince is at the castle. All right. You get back there. The beehive of energy that was outside of Vince's room has subsided. However, the energy around the stage setting up for the concert is only growing, as now you can see that they are, different vendors and things are starting to set up just outside the palace proper in that courtyard. The entire courtyard is being turned into a concert viewing area with seats and places off to the side for dancing.
Okay, I'll spend some time here doing a slightly more hands-on approach now that we've got our I've got the messenger boy who's going to find me if the carriage comes in. We've got our witness people standing by. Feel pretty good.
Beauty. Jack and Arwen. Jack, after a little bit of time, you start to feel yourself pretty exhausted. Make an endurance check for me, please. DC 16. Oh, Jack, are you there? Oh, lose 4 healing surges, please, Jack.
I'm not sure if Jack has 4. Hold on. Jack has 6 total, but he was down a few surges. So Jack has no surges left.
Did you have 4 or did you have less than 4?
I had less. I think I had 3.
Okay, excellent. In that case, reduce yourself
Maybe
to
4.
Reduce yourself to 0 healing surges, 4, 5, 6, and take 7 points of damage. Just like emotional, spiritual, and tangling with a demon, psychic, necrotic, dehydration damage. It was physically exhausting and then actually physically taxing. You probably have a huge migraine.
And can Arwen heal him?
Yes. Arwen, you can use your lay on hands or your healing word to heal him.
Jack can heal himself afterwards, but
you have no more healing surges.
Jack has a way of healing without surges, but Jack will need surges if we go into battle. So we're going to have to perform a ritual later.
Okay.
Excellent. And we'll say Hatim takes over after you and administering the slow and steady exorcism of Kshatri. So that frees up Jack and Arwen.
What time of day is it, since we've been gone several hours?
We'll say it is coming up on tea time, so around 4 o'clock. So yeah, the nurses come in with some fluids to feed to Vince.
Erwin, Crystal, how many surges do you have?
1 sec. 11?
Oh wow, that's a lot. Would Would you mind if Jack did a ritual to transfer 4 of those surges to himself?
No.
I don't use healing surges in combat usually. Like I've only used second wind once, and I still have 8 healing surges, so I could give you some of mine if you need as well. Also, Murgatroyd has a lot and regains them really fast, right?
I do not regain them really fast.
Yeah,
Then-
Murgatroyd regains them stupid fast. I think his highest trained skill is endurance.
Then Jack could do a ritual with multiple people and take, say, 2 surges from each of you 3.
Yeah.
It's fine with me.
Awesome. I gotta look up what it takes to do the ritual again.
I'm going to be leaving soon, though. I've got school in the morning.
That's all right. I think we've had a pretty good session so far.
Definitely.
Yeah, we're at a pretty good stopping point. We can just do, I'd hate to do the concert and then next week Valhalla gets to play, but that's okay. The concert's just going to be a thing. So if you guys just, unless Elliot's going to be organizing the event, making it Mobetta, so make a diplomacy check for me, please, Elliot. And unless Jack and Arwen are going to do anything spectacular or just kind of hang out and help out Vince, then that's fine. We'll just kind of breeze through today.
I'm going to use my mob mentality to give this roll +2.
Okie doke. Nice.
Jumping.
You are able to use your mob mentality. You get a few of the other staff, including the little runner boy, who we should give a name to. Let's call him Peter. And he, stands behind you and just is the best PA you've ever had. He just runs and does stuff.
Jack's gonna do that ritual before he takes off.
Okay.
And then once done, I think he's just gonna hang out with some of the other priests and learn about whatever he can.
Beauty. So yeah, just mark off the cost of doing that ritual, but I'm pretty sure you have a bunch of components and stuff. So,
Arwen's going to do anything she can to help with the ritual, but then she'd like to go back and spend some time with Amicus, who probably misses her.
it's true. When you get back to the villa, Amicus has run amok on the balcony up there. Some of the patio furniture has been chewed up and things like that, and there's some poop up there too. But Amicus is very happy to see you, and you take him out and play and do some more training and stuff like that. So that's good.
Perfect.
That's good. Every time you do stuff like that and train the dog better, I move the date up of his completed training. Just so you know.
Excellent.
It used to be Christmas, but now it's not Christmas anymore.
Like our Christmas?
This world's equivalent of Christmas celebration, which is called... they actually celebrate the end of the Fey Wars, which happens in the 12th month. And it is their big kind of celebration, their midwinter celebration. So it's kind of like a Remembrance Day mixed with Christmas.
Cool. Well, I'm dedicated to getting this fella trained.
All right. So with that excellent roll and your guys' business and stuff you do, the concert is spectacular. You even have some time, Elliot, to nip up to the lighting booth and give the guy a little bit more instruction. And with a 31, you are able to organize a couple low-level mages to stand by with some pyrotechnic display and everything, right? And just things that you remember doing on the road all the way to here, right? You're just like, okay, yeah, we got to find a guy who can do this, can do that. And having Peter, the runner, there, he's really great at going and securing different things. And because your brother is paying for it, you're like, money's no expense. Pay those mages whatever they want. Pay this guy whatever he wants. and the show is fantastic. The crowd attending the show is 100% nobles. All right, the carriages start arriving, and it's like friggin' Cinderella, right? The fancy gilt carriages open up, and rich people step out, and they go and take seats in front of the concert. And it is, poor people crowd the walls outside and climb the rooftops of the adjoining villas to peer over the walls and and check out the show that way. But in attendance in the courtyard is probably, I don't know, I'm going to say about 500 of the richest and most influential people in Lufa, Purell, and the surrounding area.
Oh, man. With Peter being my PA, I don't suppose you... I mean, that carriage from Purell, someone would have told me if it was the one.
Yeah. There are many carriages arriving from Purell, but geez, I don't know. You don't know which one that is. So lots of carriages arrive from Purell.
I guess I would have just kept an eye out for the red flag, and if my brother was around, just kind of kept in touch with him.
11 carriages in total arrive from Purell.
Oh man. Okay, yeah, just keeping an eye out for the red flag.
All right, make a streetwise check.
Oof.
You begin asking around, and you're able to clear 4 of those wagons as not being here to contact Marks specifically, and the red flag does not go up over the course of the evening.
Is Marks at the concert?
He is, and he appears to be enjoying himself in spite of himself, right? He's at the first of the show, he's all stuffy and sitting up, bolt upright in his chair and being very proper, but by the time the thing kind of gets going, Valhalla knows his audience, and he tries a few of the rowdier songs, but then it's okay, that's not this scene. He's a showman, so he plays the song for the nymphs and a few of his classics like Baby I'm a Whirling Threat and stuff like that, and eventually the nobles get into it, and everyone has a really good, especially the children have a really good time, the young princes and princesses and children of noble families. It's lots of dancing from them, but the adults, by and large, don't get up out of the seats too much.
Cool beans.
Okay, what's this letter? I saw some banding back and forth about the letter and whatnot.
Apparently Jack was supposed to plant a seed in the silewood before we left.
But you
didn't
have those seeds, Jack?
It would be somewhere in our
check the inventory,
but I don't remember.
Because I'm pretty sure that the seeds, one was given to Elliot and one was given to Valhalla. Because I re-listened to that podcast recently because I edited it. Yeah, it's on the YouTubes. That one's up there. So you can actually hear the nymphs made a deal with Elliot to plant one of the seeds in the capital, because you're following the Homestar. You're a Homestar runner. Wow, that was
the joke. Did that just hit?
That just hit
you?
Me. Yeah.
Oh man.
And the other one was given to Valhalla when they heard that you guys were going to the Salwood.
So if part of your mission was to plant one in the Silewood, that's already done.
It's not written down anywhere.
Yeah, Valhalla had one of the seeds and Elliot has the other. So you could ask Valhalla if he did it.
Sure.
All right.
Or what does he say?
Just
hey Valhalla, did you plant the seed in the Silewood? Because he's on stage while Jack is talking to him.
Yeah, no. I guess I'll have to ask him after the show.
Yeah. And if you remind Elliot, I don't know if you were keeping track of that as well, Jake, but you're like, oh shit, yeah, I do still have this seed.
Yeah, it's on my inventory. My inventory is super well organized. Did you go in my tab, or did you just go to the
I went to the LHEQ tab, I typed in seed, and I couldn't find it.
Might be under acorn or something like that. Anyway, doesn't matter.
Nut? I have it down as. Is it a seed?
It's a seed, a nut, an acorn. It's bigger than a seed, so it's more like the size of like a chestnut or a walnut.
Yeah, I've renamed it to seed. It's in the wagon.
Excellent. All right.
So
yeah.
So I'm guessing that in their current state, Vinz cannot take 20 on a task.
No. Vince has moments of clarity where you can talk to Vince, and she can sit up and maybe eat a little bit of soup, but then the force of Kajatri comes over her again, and she's racked with seizures and sweats and terrors. Essentially, until Mitch gets here, Vince is going to be pretty useless.
Yeah. That was a pretty intense scene.
Demon Coke. It's a hell of a drug.
Yeah.
All right, the concert goes amazingly, and the party after the concert is fantastic. You have a great time partying with your brother. Just a select group are invited into the castle afterwards to party with Valhalla Kazam and the king, and you have a chance to kind of rub elbows with the mucky mucks and the various people going around. And at some point in the evening, libations are actually brought down to Vince's suite. So there's, Peter and some of the other runners from the castle bring down some bottles of champagne and trays full of delectable, savory and sweet delicacies are brought down to share amongst the priests and nurses and Jack and Arwen. This is one hell of a celebration, and you can sense a general building of the morale and acceptance and what's the word I'm looking for? Pleasure at the king, right? People are now leaning towards his favor. That's the word I'm looking for. The favor of the king has grown.
Sick. Mission accomplished.
Jack, in your time spent, and Arwen too, hobnobbing with these priests, there's one priest of Halin who is he's lesser. He's just a priest. We'll call him Brother Figgis.
Cyril Figgis.
Who there's just something about him. You're like he's kind of half-assing it, or he, maybe it's racism. He doesn't want to help in Eladrin. And this, I guess this is no, because Vince was naked in the fountain before, so you would have seen to the extent that the tattoos are, that they really do tell the whole life story of each Eladrin. And if you could read the Eladrin language, excuse me, Arwen, because you can read Elf, you understand some of it. You're like, oh, this symbol indicates, where he grew up, right? And this one indicates his education, and this one indicates who his primary caregivers were, and things like that. But you're not sure exactly what each symbol means. At this time, though, because you have spent a good amount of time with Vince while she is in dire straits, you notice that there are some peculiarities about the tattoos. Like there is maybe a slight gradient difference in the ink, as though some of the tattoos have been altered. And you know that is forbidden for Bowden anyway, in Eladrin society. It's really looked down upon. They don't do that, right? It's like altering your birth certificate or things like that. I guess it could be as far as saying it's illegal. Whoever did it, especially the ones on her face that have her name, Sorochin. Whoever did it is very, very skillful, but at this state, her skin is drawn, she's paler than usual, and you can see that, some of these tattoos have been altered.
Do I share this information with anyone?
It's up to you. You're like, maybe that's what Brother Figgis is, or maybe he's just a regular old racist. And it's quite common, especially around humans, whose family was possibly destroyed during the Fey Wars, to hold grudges against the Eladrin.
All right, I'll just keep it to myself for now.
Okie doke. Eventually, you all go to bed. Whether you take advantage of the night and hit the hay early, or you wait until the sun's coming up and the party dies off, everyone catches some sleep. And we'll pick up the next morning when you have 24 hours before the man in black comes back to the villa.